subscribe and click the notifications button.
Hi guys, Kim here with Art Classes for Kids, and we are already at the 9th project of Art Camp in a Box. I can't even believe it. It's just kind of flying by. Now the 9th project is one of my favorites. It's painting on a canvas. It's gonna look a little like this. This is an example I made inspired by the artist, American artist Wayne Thiebaud's cake paintings that look a little like this. But ours doesn't have quite as many cakes because they do take quite a lot of time. If it's your first time checking in on the pre-recorded videos, hey, welcome. Now the beauty of the pre-recorded videos is that you can pause at any time, and you can also, like if you need to take a break, you can pause it and come back to it. A project like this takes a lot of detail if you want it to be this detailed. And if it does, you can always pause it and come back to it a couple hours later if you want. So that's what I love about the videos. But if you've been joining my live stream camp, well, I have enjoyed having you, and it's fun to have the energy of all the people doing it together. So, both of them are good. Now, I want to make sure you have everything you need for this project. So I want you to grab your bag that says A9 Canvas Painting. And let's make sure you have everything you need to make this awesome project. Now, the first thing you're going to need is, you'll see the instruction sheet. You're not going to need to use this right now because I'm going to give you all the instructions. But, keep this because I've got some vocabulary words, repetition, stagger, highlights, outlines, things like that. Also, it reminds you that if you want to learn more about this artist, you can look him up, Google him, and see all of his other artworks. It also has a supply list, so you can double check that you have everything. Plus, you might want to make one of these projects after you watch the video, maybe months later. Maybe you're making a gift for somebody and they love desserts and you're going to make a dessert painting for them. And if you do, you can always refer back to this. So I'm going to set that aside. You're going to need the canvas. Now, if it's your very first time painting on a canvas, the canvas is actually a wooden frame, and the wooden frame is got a fabric stapled around it that's already been primed. That means it's been painted white and it makes the fabric tight so that you can paint on it. You're gonna need this, and the other things that you'll need in the bag will be, you get these stencils, which you can choose to use or you can choose not to use. But I made these so that things can move along a little bit faster because we need to draw our cakes and get those all ready. You can freehand them or you can get a little help with that tool. You can also use these things, which of course you're gonna need paper towels to wipe out your paintbrush. And this is if you want to mix some colors, you've got this for a disposable palette. Now, there are some other things that were in your welcome bag, the bag that you had the apron in. And while we're talking about the apron, make sure you put your apron on because this can be a messy project, but more than that, if you get paint on your clothes, it won't come out. So you want to cover your clothes with an apron, but if you get it on your hands, you can scrub your hands and get it off. It just turns kind of plasticky, but it's like impossible to get out of your clothes. So hopefully you aren't wearing your favorite shirt under your apron too. Now, you've got the stencil, you've got the canvas. Now the things that don't come in this bag, but you're going to need are your set of paintbrushes. So grab those, you're gonna need those. You're also going to need your paints that you've probably already used for a project, and now we're gonna use those. You'll just need to get them out of your packaging so you can use them. And maybe you still have that extra paintbrush that it comes with. You're going to need a jar of water. This does not come with your kit. This is any kind of cup you have in your kitchen that you can use to keep your water in so that you can rinse it and clean out your brush in between. Also, I want you to choose a pair of scissors from home that you like to cut with, and we'll be cutting out the stencils if you choose to use the stencils. And lastly, you need a pencil. So gather up your things and come back and join me so that we can get started on this really amazing painting. Okay, hopefully you got everything you needed. Now, if you did, I want to start with a few basics. So I'm going to move my canvas out of the way. I definitely need my stencil and the scissors to start. Now, all of these things, the cakes and the stands, you can cut out so you can trace around them and you can get the right size and you can lay it out quick. So just cut around them the best you can. They don't have to be perfect, they're just gonna be sketchy. Now I have 4 of these cake plates on a stick. You don't have to cut every one out. You can just cut one out and keep tracing it, or if you want to lay it out, you can cut all 4. Entirely up to you how much cutting you want to do. But take your time and cut these pretty good around the ovals. Try not to cut off the little stem of the cake plate. Okay, so I've got one little cake plate. See? Got a little cake for that. I'm gonna cut out all my cakes. So I'm going to set that aside. So go ahead and start cutting so we can all be cutting at the same time. While we're cutting, let me tell you a few things about Wayne Thiebaud. So Wayne Thiebaud is an American artist. He's originally from Arizona, and then he went to school in California. He ended up staying there and making his art there, although he showed it all over the world. In the United States, he'd show it in New York and all the other big cities, but then he became so popular that he showed in museums all over the world. Okay, first when I cut, I usually cut all my outside scraps away. So I'm not cutting such a big piece of paper. Then I go in and cut around each individual thing. So I've got that, now I've got this. I also lead my scissors with the part down closest to the screw. Okay, got that, got another cake. Now, if you want to, you can pause this video now, cut all your cakes and turn it back on. That's up to you. I'm gonna be cutting pretty fast. There's another cake. If you want to cut the whole out of this, all I do is I usually fold it perfectly in half, or as close as I can perfectly in half. And then I go in and I cut like that. And then I have my little hole. Okay, I'll cut one more of these. Maybe I'll cut both. Okay, so what I do is I cut off the excess. Then it makes it easier. Sometimes I just go around it like this. So that's cutting off the excess. Then I go back around and cut out the little shapes. Whoop. Okay, there's that one. See, it's easy to overcut that little bit, so just be careful where it's skinny. Okay, and my last piece. Okay, so I've got my cake plate. So what I'm going to do, by the way, I have an overhead camera view, so I'll be going back and forth because then you can see it a little more closer, like this. So, I'll be using these as my stencils to draw, and then I have different cakes I can choose to put on different cake stands. Like that, and I can switch these. I'm gonna be tracing them more than once. So I'll move all my cakes out of the way and all my cake stands and just set those aside. Now I'm going to get my canvas. My canvas is going to be vertical or horizontal. So it's like a sideways, so I can fit more cakes in this way. Now, on the back, which is the part with the little logo on stamped and all the staples, that's where I'm going to write my name. And what I'm going to do is write the date so I know what day I made it and I can tell what year I made it if I look back at it years later. So I'm going to write the date. And if I want to know who it was inspired by, I'm going to write that on the back too. So I'm writing inspired by Wayne, and he has a French last name. It's pronounced Thiebaud, like cup of tea, wear my bow, okay? But It's spelled Thiebaud because the French don't say the ending of the word if it's consonant. And often they make TH sound like just a T, okay, instead of a th, okay? So it's inspired by Wayne Thiebaud. Write your date, write your name, and then you're good to go, okay? So once again, Wayne, Thiebaud. Once you've got that, I need you to turn your canvas over and get ready to start drawing. Now we've got this painting right here, and what he did was he said this is the way that he remembers the cakes during the Depression. The Depression was about the 1930s when the country was really poor and people didn't have a lot of extra money. But maybe sometimes the big treat was getting to go have a special, dessert. And he remembered that in bakeries and in some restaurants, they would have a case, a window with all those little cakes in it. Sometimes diners had these. And sometimes it would just be, the bakery or the pastry store. So you can see that they're all organized in rows because presentation is really important when you're trying to sell something. Making it look like you just gotta have it, right? And he was really good at drawing that. Now, this is the edge of the counter and he adds a bright color to the bottom. He likes to add a lot of bright colors and bright colored outlines. The first thing we're gonna do is make a line across the bottom, about 2 fingers from the bottom. You can measure there and do that again. And then you can make a line across. You can make another line across really close to it, about a pencil distance apart, where you can fit a pencil in it. That's going to have an outline, and he does a lot of outlines with a variety of colors of stripes. So we're going to use that effect of his. He's got his own style. Next, we're going to draw where the back of the counter is, and I'm going to say that's about 4 fingers away from the top. Make a little mark. Go back to this side, mark it again. And now that's the back of the counter. Anything above here is the wall. So now I go here and I try to make sure it's really straight. If I need a ruler, well, you don't really need a ruler, but if you still have your instruction sheet like this, you could lay that out like this and get a really straight line. See, my line wasn't so straight. I might straighten it out. Keep going across. So maybe I'm going to straighten my line out a little bit like that. So I've got my top line that divides the counter from the wall, and I've got the bottom line where the edge of the counter is, and maybe that's the front of the case. It's up to your imagination. So now we've got that. What we'll be doing next is placing our plates. Now our plates need to be lower, or the plate is actually going to cross through that line of where the wall starts. And you can have these, if you want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's actually 3 full plates and 2 half plates. So I'm going to start right in the middle with my plate, and really lightly I'm going to draw around it. Whoop. And I've got that. Now where the line goes through my plate, I'm going to erase it. And I'm going to continue my plate where the stick is. So I cross through that. Now I'm going to have 2 more here, and I'm going to have 2 halves here. So that's how it's going to work out. So now I made sure I spaced them evenly, and then I'm going to just trace around these. And I've got that one and that one. Let's move those. And now I have a half over here. I don't even know if I'm going to show the little leg to it. Well, maybe just a little bit. I've got that one there. And I erase the center the best I can. And erase that one. And erase this one. And I'm going to have a half on the right side as well. So I'm taking this over here. This one I'm not even going to have the stick. I'm going to have that one spread out like that. Okay, so I've got 3 full plates and 2 half plates. on the top row. I'm going to have one more row. It's right here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And they stagger. What is staggering? Staggering means alternating in space. So right here, I'm going to have another one, but I'm not going to let this go as low as the edge of the counter, am I? No, because it's on the counter. I'm actually going to bring it up so it has a little space under it. Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty good right here. So I'm going to trace this one. Now I can clean that up a little. Okay, and then, oh, I forgot I'm gonna close all these up. That one I don't show. Okay, now I put this one at the same height, right in between these two if I can fit it. Oops. Let's bring it down a little more so it's the same. And I go in between these two because I'm staggering it. And my last one, right in here. And there you go. Now I close up the edge of each one of these plates. Plates on a little stick. Okay. Now comes the fun part. Now you gotta decide what shape goes where. So these are the choices. We've got the half cake, like you see right here. We've got the full tall cake, like you see right there, or you see it right here. You've got the bundt cake, nothing bundt cake, right? Right here. And we've got just the standard kind of two layers of cake like that one or that one. Oh no, this one's more like that one. The heart, that's the low cake. And this is kind of like the standard cake right there. So now you decide how many you want of which kind and where you want to put them. That's when you make it your own. You might want to have all tall cakes. You might want to have all bundt cakes. You might want to have all half cakes. Maybe you might want every other one half. Maybe you don't want any half cakes. That's where you make it your own. So now, right now, I want you to take your time and make and place these on it. But when you do, let me show you what you want to be looking for. I'll start with the standard cake. So I can put that on any of these, but the curve of the bottom needs to match the curve of the plate without touching it. You don't want it down on the edge, do you? No, you want it in the plate. So you want to have a space, maybe 1 finger space between it before you get to the bottom edge. So I'll put this here. I'll go around, and I've got my outline, but I need to draw this oval. This makes an oval right here. So I'm going to turn that into an oval, and I will erase what crossed underneath it. Now I've got one cake. Now I'm going to do a really big cake here. So this big cake I'm putting here, and I've got about 1 finger space below it. I remove my stencil, and I need to make that oval on top. I need to make that shape. Now I erase what was going through it. It's pretty easy, but this is really helping us speed up. If you want to freehand it, you could be freehanding it this whole time. It just takes a little bit longer, and you'll probably need to pause the video. Okay, I'm gonna do a half cake somewhere. Now, when you do the half cake, you can have more space underneath it. So I'm gonna put the half cake right here, and instead of like 1 finger, I have more space under it. And I'm going around my shape, and now I'm going to set this next to it, and I'm going to draw that. It's like there's a rectangle with stripes on it, like horizontal stripes. First, I think I'll erase that line through it, because that's gonna be hard to erase once I get it. Now I make the 2 sides, I make the bottom, I curve the corners, and I go across the top, and I curve the corners again. And now I'm gonna make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 horizontal lines. If you don't want that many layers, you can do 4 or 3 or 2. So I'll do 5. There's mine. I think I'll have 1 more half cake over here, but I won't have as many layers. So I can show you the difference. Okay, so I go through here. Now I erase all these lines. I draw half of a rectangle. And now I'm only gonna have 3 lines in it. So that's a little bit thicker. So here we go. Already you can see that cake. Okay, now I gotta figure out what am I doing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more spots. I think I'll try the bundt cake somewhere. The bundt cake. Okay, I will put it up here in this spot. Mix it up. So I put an oval in it. Ooh, I kind of went out there, but that's fine. Okay, now I'm going around it. I'm erasing the line in between it. And maybe you can tell what's missing. It's that top edge, the oval. So I'm going around there. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 3 and a half to go. Okay, I think I'll put another bundt cake over here. And I erase the lines that were there before, and I complete the oval. Okay, what haven't I used? I haven't done the low cake. Let me take the low cake here. I lift it up, erase this mark, and I complete the oval on top. And, ooh, I've got 2 half cakes. I think I'll do a low one for this half cake. Right here. And, ooh, I'll have a normal cake right here. Normal meaning just kind of the size of a classic birthday cake you make out of boxed, you know, batter. Okay, so here you go. A box kit. Let me see if I can get that a little rounder here. Okay, so now I have my whole composition drawn. Now, you don't have to draw all the designs that you want. You might want a swirl top. You might want a heart frosting on top. You might want, you know, where they take those pastry bags and they make flowers out of them. You might want, this is like with cherries on top. This one has drips of frosting or white chocolate or something. They're all different. You can decide that as you paint. You don't have to decide it just yet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint the cakes last so that you have more time to think about it. And we're gonna paint the backgrounds, the shadows, and everything, and save the cakes for last. So now we don't need the pencil anymore. We're going to move our stencils and keep these because you might want to make another cake painting one day. So I set that aside. I set my pencil aside. I don't need the scissors anymore. But what I do need is my palette. I do need the brushes. I do need something to wipe down with. And I need my paints. So I'm going to, let's see, I haven't even used this brush yet. Let me get the scissors and cut it off. It has a little piece of tape holding it on. Okay. I've got, these are the same as those. Okay, I've got all these colors. And these are a little tricky to open up. So if you've opened them once, they open up good the second time. But if you haven't opened them up, they're a little hard to open sometimes. Okay, we've got all these pearly colors. These pearlescent colors, they would be really cool, I think. And then we've got neon colors and regular colors. I think what I'll do is, I'll open up all my regular colors at first. Okay. We aren't gonna be using any black. Wayne Thiebaud didn't use much black, but he did use dark blue and dark purple a lot to outline with. So I'm opening up these little pots. And I'm going to open up all my metallics because I know I'm going to be using those. Okay. My last one. Okay, now hopefully you got your apron on. Okay, and then the last one is the fluorescent one. Sometimes I shake these things up at first. Okay, I've got them all opened. You might need a little help opening them if they haven't been opened before. Ooh, that was kind of thick. Okay, so I've got all my colors ready. Now, this painting needs a really light background. In order for the cakes to really stand out, we want to have a light background. This one is kind of a tan with a baby blue background. This mine is kind of a like light lavender and a light blue and a turquoise. So I'm going to show you how to come up with those colors. I'm going to take my second to biggest brush, this one right here. I'm going to take white and I'm going to paint it on the back. It sounds crazy to paint white on white, but what it's going to do is it's going to mix in with the other color and make the other color lighter that I add to it. I think the color I'll add to it is going to be blue, since I did a purple one there. Now remember, if I'm moving too fast, just pause the video and click back when you're ready, because I want to go fast for the people that actually move really fast, because we can always slow it down for the others. Okay, so I've got this. Now I'm going to wipe out my brush and I'm going to dip into the turquoise paint, which is in the fluorescent spot or strip, and I'm going to add that, and I'm going to have little brush strokes in it. Okay, now you don't have to smooth it out. You can have brush strokes in it. But what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the lightest blue by mixing it with the turquoise. And I use the edge of my brush to make sure I don't go over my cakes, and I go right in there. So you can see my little technique of being really careful around my pencil marks. Kind of staying in my lines. Usually I don't say that on a lot of projects, but this project, it's got a lot of detail. Let's try to stay kind of in the lines. So I want to have these little dashy brush strokes. I'm not going to smooth it out. I want to have the look of brush strokes showing. So it's still, if you work fast enough, the white will stay wet. I still have plenty of blue in here. See, I keep rubbing it out. I have enough to get all the way across in one dip. It's crazy, but cool. Okay, so now I've got this all the way there. And look, I've got my whole back wall painted that quick. You know, you probably looked at this at the beginning and thought, whoa, that's gonna be tough painting to paint. And it is a challenging painting, but if we take it step by step, we're gonna cruise through it. All right, now we wanna paint the area behind here, but did you notice there are shadows? Those shadows are really important. Wayne Thiebaud always put shadows in it. These ones are brown, and these ones are dark blue. Often he did blue. Blue is a little more colorful than brown, but he also did brown. And brown is kind of cool because it reminds you of like chocolate or something. So I need you to draw all the ovals. How we're gonna get the ovals is we're gonna take one of our stencils, and without tracing the little stick, watch what I do. I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna do what I call a drop shadow. That's the shadow, and instead of being right in place, I drop it down and to the right for this. And I see where it is. It's almost touching the other plate. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around this. And you see, I put the shadow there, and then the stick, instead of going straight down, the stick comes from the bottom of the stick you drew. So now I see that opening right here and here, and I'm gonna aim it to the bottom like that. So I'm going to drop this shadow here, go around and around, and I'm going to aim it over to here. Oh, I forgot to do that side. You see how I'm getting those shadows? Let's do another one. Let's drop it in here, down and to the right of where the original was. And I pull it away, in that open space, I aim it to the little stick that's holding up the plate. This one, I'm over here, right? I'm dropping it right in here, except it's going off of the edge of the canvas. Now we're repeating the positioning every time. Now this can go here and here. Oh, I gotta get the top, where's the top part end? Right here. Okay, now we're going to do the back row. We're going to drop it right here. So if I go here and I go down, it's right here, but if I bump into another line, I stop and I continue, and look, that's all I see is that. So I have it here, I drop it down and to the right without touching this plate, and if I bump into another thing, I stop. Okay, and this one I can see part of the shadow. Now I do this, I start it in my position, I drop it to the bottom and right, and I go around it like that. Okay, there you go. And then I've got one more right here. So I have it here and I drop it down and right without crossing over that one. Then I know it's in the same position as the others. And then I aim this to here, and this to here, and that to there, and this one needs its shadow, and I check that they all have that little stick shadow, and they all do. And now I know where my shadows are. So now we're gonna paint the shadows, because then we can figure out where the background is around it. So what color do you wanna do? You wanna do brown or do you wanna do blue? You know, since I'm gonna mix purple and brown and see what kind of color I get. So I'm gonna create a color in my palette. So take a look over here. I'm gonna use a small brush because I'm going in between things. So I'm going to take this color, this purpley color, and I'm gonna match it with brown, but I don't have a brown. How do I get brown? I take green and red and I get brown. So watch, I'll take some green, or red, wipe it out. I'll take some green and I mix them together. And look, I get brown. I get like a chocolate color. Now I'm gonna add a bunch of purple to it and see what color it turns. See if it turns into anything. Oh, now it's kind of burgundy. But that's a cool color. Okay, I'm gonna use that color for my shadows on this one. So I'm going down into these areas. I'm gonna inline it. That's where I make sure that line is within my pencil mark, and then I fill it in. Okay, I've got that. Now, I forgot to tell you guys, if you wanna see how to make the blue, I just use this blue right here, the one next to the dark green. So go ahead, you can paint it in that if that's the color you wanna use. Now you just kind of cruise through and paint it. So I'm going in here and I'm finding those shapes. I'm not painting on top of the stick. I'm just going around it for now. I see that little shadow thing. And I've got this one here. We'll be adding some shadows, but not quite, I mean, on the sticks. Not quite yet. I'll wait till we've painted all of this part, which is the oval and I go to the next one. So you do your best trying to stay in these little areas. If you want a skinny or paintbrush, hold it straight up and you get a little more of just the tip of the bristles and it looks like a smaller mark that you make. That one I can't even see. Well, maybe I'd see a little bit of the shadow. And now I've got my bottom row to go. And that little stick. Okay, I hope I have enough paint to do 3 more so I don't have to try to mix and match it again. Okay. And let's see this. I'll add a little touch of water to it and see if that'll make it go farther. Yep. And one more shadow. Let's see if we can make it. Okay, I got it. That one's a little purplier, but it still works. Okay, so we can have those brush strokes. Now, the space in between the shadows, and actually you can add a light dry brush to the top part of each one of the sticks because the shadow's on it, but we'll still be able to see a little bit of the color that we choose to make our little sticks that hold up our plates. Okay, now I will come up with a light color. So now I'm going to take my white again. I'm going to paint white and then I'm going to paint pink. So I'm going to first get it wet like I did the top so that I get a pastel color. So I'm painting this part, working fast so that it stays wet. Okay, now I'm going to add some color to that top. I'm going to use the fluorescent pink. This one right here. So I take this, let's make sure that's right over here. So I take this color and I put it on top of the white. And now I've got a really awesome color. It's like a pastel neon color. And I'll put it here. So I'm putting it in all the spaces on this case, space that are in between all those shadows. Okay, this is my last bit. Alrighty, now I still have this part to do. So let me get my white again. Oh, that's the pearly white. And that's white. And I'm going to do this part. I can mix more white into it. So if your color starts getting a little bright, you can put the white on top of the color, or you can do what I showed where you have the white under the color and then you add the color to it. It's up to you. You kind of get to the same place, just in a different way. Okay, but I need more pink. More white. Okay, I'm going to do all the rest of my white here before I add the rest of the pink. Okay, now I need some pink. I'm kind of wiping it all over the place, now I'm going to blend it. And you can make it brush strokey. Ooh. Okay, now we've got the back wall painted, we've got the middle ground painted, we've got our shadows, and now let's do that bottom part. So pick a new color. Okay, I had turquoise here. Maybe I will have this purple color at the bottom this time. I could have used a bigger brush. Oh, I'll use that first brush. Bigger area, bigger brush. So I have this, and I can just paint that on. Okay, I've got that. So now I've got all the big background colors, you see? Now I'm going to add a couple color of stripes here with my skinny brush. Now I'm just going to pick all my favorite bright colors. And I'm going to start with yellow. And I'm going to put yellow in here. Then I'm going to add maybe some red. Oh, I'll add some metallic orange. And now I'm going to add some lime green. Now I don't have to have them all even. I can have a little bit of dark red accents. Maybe a little bit of this turquoise. Well, it doesn't show up so well. There we go. Just a little bit. You see? Okay, now let's paint all of our plates. Let's figure out what color. Let's make them a light color so this, shows up really good. So all the cakes show up really good. So you can just take a bright color, or you can go light color like I'm gonna do. And if you're gonna do light color, you're gonna paint your plate white like this. And then you're gonna add a color to it, like maybe I got green. This is a greenish plate. Woo, kind of went out of bounds on that one. Now, if you wanna save it, if you go out of your lines, you can always wipe it while it's wet. And then it just kind of cleans up. Okay, I think I'll do one more plate like that. Do this one over here. But I think I'll add a little yellow to it so it looks like like a lime green, but a pastel lime green. So I'll take a little yellow, this one. Okay, now I need some new colors. I'm gonna get white again, and I'm going to do this plate. And I'm going to use a touch of blue, just a touch, just barely touch it. That's all you need. Okay, wipe it out, get some more white. I'll do this plate. Okay, I need a color. How about purple? I'm mixing in a little purple. Okay, I think I might do one more of those because I think that turned out cool. Okay, a little bit of purple. Okay, and you know what? The little stick that holds it up, you can add that same color to it if you like. So I'll add a little purple to that one. Add a little white and green. White, white, white. This one I'll add that touch of blue. And then I'll add a little touch of green to that one and that one. Okay, let's see, I'll make a yellowish plate now. White right here. And now a little bit of yellow. And I think I'll do a yellow one here. I'll get that little stick that holds it up. I think I'll add a little white to that. To that one. Okay, let's do an orangey one. Let's do that. And I'll put a little orange on it. Gosh, what's left? This one, maybe I'll make that one. Ooh, what color could that be? That one's going to be silver. I'm just going to paint it silver. Okay, now I've got all my plates done. I've got my backgrounds done. All I have left is the fun part, the cakes. Well, the rest was fun too, but you know, I mean, the funnest part is going to be the cakes. So I'm going to do one cake, and if you want to watch me, I'll show you how you can add shadows and highlights. I'm going to do this swirling cake that's white with some chocolate. So I'll start out with the pearlescent. I'll do it right here. So I'm going to fill the whole thing with pearly white, which is right next to silver on the little paint pot set. And I've got this, I'm doing the whole thing in that color. Now I'm going to take some of that tan I had before, this color, that I mixed together, and I'm going to shade the sides. So I put some on the right edge and the left edge, and then as I go up and down, I fade it out. Now I do the same thing over here, like that. So I get it, now I want to add an extra color. I'm putting a little blue on my palette. See how I have like a little bit of color on here? Thiebaud used a lot of color, like as if these cakes were so shiny they were getting reflections from other things. So I'm going to add some blue and some blue to here. And now I'm going to add the chocolate swirl to the top. I'm making more chocolate. I'm making green and red mixed together and a little more green. And I'm getting a dark brown or a chocolatey brown. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an oval swirl. Now I go on that outline. And once you've completed the chocolate swirl, it'll look like this. Now you can add, if you'd like, some chocolate to the bottom edge. And if you want to add the signature Wayne Thiebaud skinny outlines, what you do is you take another color like orange or something, and you add a little hairline of orange, like a little reflection of orange. Or whatever color you want. I just kind of scatter it around, and then I pick another color. Maybe I'll take green and I'll just put a little green. And it makes it more colorful. If you want a few highlights, take your white. A few highlights. Now his paintings were thick and pasty. He was using oil paint. But we can add little thick white spots if we want to have them. And that's the first cake. Now I'm going to show you how to do the bundt cake. The bundt cake, I'm going to make a yellow one right here. So I'm just going to paint the whole thing yellow at first. That's easy. Okay, then in the center it's going to be a little darker. So I'm going to take some blue, like a little blue swirl there, and I'm going to make an edge blue. Now I need it to look 3D. So I'm going to just take some, whatever color I have that's dark and dirty, I'm going to shade it and fade it. This time I'm going to do it on one side. And I want some highlights on it. So I wipe out my brush and I get some white. Put some white on it there. Now I'm going to complete my little zigzag edge. This edge here. I'll put a little bit of another color around this edge. Go around it. And now I'm going to put some highlights, like it's shining on top of that stuff. So I take the white. You know what? I'm going to use this white. Does this white look brighter? It's the same white. No, this white looks that one's a little beigey. Let's go with this one. This one's a little brighter white. And I put some little highlights so it looks like the frosting is shiny. Okay, let's move on. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to just go on and just go at it with your cakes, go for it. I'm gonna go at it with my cakes, and then I'm gonna hold it up and show you how it turned out. But I want you to experiment. The next one I'm gonna make is gonna be the pink cake with the flower on top. So I'm going to take white at first. I'm gonna paint my whole cake white. Then I'm going to take red this time rather than that fluorescent pink, and I'm going to mix it in. Woo, that turned a little bit too red. So I'm going to wipe some off with my fingers, and I'm going to add some fluorescent pink to it. This is going to be like a red velvet cake. Now I can see through my pencil mark is right there. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna highlight it with white. I only need a little bit of paint. These paintings don't take that much paint. And I'm going to highlight the center and fade it out to the sides. I'm gonna put a little more white so it's brighter here. Okay, I'll let that dry. In the meantime, I'm going to put white frosting, like if a pastry brush, kind of a pastry bag, just put a bunch on the edge. So here I go, I'm going around, and I'm making it kind of blotty, so it looks kind of wavy. You can do it in dots too if you want. Let it go a little bit past the edges of your cake. And then, you know what? I'm gonna make this be one of those cakes with a little scallopy edges. Watch. I'm gonna go like that. And I'm gonna go like this. Goes around the corner. One of those kind of cakes. Okay, and in the center, I'm going to have a red rose. So I just put a couple of curves. And when it dries, I'll add some highlights, and now I'm gonna put some green leaves. And now I'm going to add some more white highlights, but I don't want, my brush isn't even as tiny as the end is, so I take the paint on the end and I'm just gonna add some little highlights like this. And I've got that. And there I am. Now I need those Wayne Thiebaud bright colored outlines, so I'm gonna take some purple and I'm gonna go around this. Doesn't have to be even. Let's see. And that one's done. Okay, this one I'll make chocolate, dark chocolate. So that one I'm going to need, this one I'm going to mix it a little different. Remember, I make brown with red and green, but I want it dark chocolate. So I'm going to take a little bit of that black, and I'm going to mix the black into the milk chocolate and make it dark chocolate. Okay, so I've got this dark chocolate cake now. Let's add a little yellow to that. I don't know if that's gonna make that big a difference, but no, not that big a difference. So this is my super dark chocolate cake, and I'm going to put yellow cake inside. So I'll put some yellow in it. Ooh, it didn't turn yellow because I didn't wash out my brush. Let me wash out my brush. Now I'm gonna wash this out. I take a little piece of my paper towel and I blot it. And that's kind of how you erase paint, if you want to erase it really quick. Okay, so I'm taking that yellow. And then on top of it, I'm going to put some skinny lines. Gotta hold my paintbrush straight up. Just go across. Oop, got that one out of bounds. And now I'm going to add some highlights so it looks like it's shiny. Okay, there we go. Nice. And now some colorful streaks around the edges. Go with the turquoise, a little green, and maybe some pink. Okay, there's my chocolate cake. Oh my gosh, we gotta hustle. Okay, so just go for it. I'm going to make this one kind of chocolatey, so I'm going to add some white to my brown. And I get this color. That's kind of a muddy brown. Okay, so what I think I'll do is add some yellow to it. Now I told you this project takes longer than the others, and it's a detail project, but I think you're gonna do just fine because you're the advanced group. Okay, there we go. So that one, I'm going to add some highlights to it. So I take some white and I just go like, and a little bit over here. And the center is going to be darker. So I'm taking some of that brown that was darker and putting it inside that. And a little bit on the edges to shade it in. Okay, I've got that one. Now I need some colorful outlines. So I'm going with red. And orange. Just like that. All right. Wow. Now what I'm doing is this cake, I think I'll make that one look like it has vanilla frosting. So I'm going to take that pearly white and just put that on there. And I'm going to put pink cake inside. So I'm going to take this pink, fill it in, add some white, and add some bright white frosting. I just go little dots because it's not easy. Yeah, it's not even. Okay, next, I'm going to put some skinny outlines of colors. How about dark blue? Okay, I've got 2.5 cakes to go. Wow, what about an orange cake? I haven't had an orange cake. Okay, so let's take this and make it white. It'll have a peachy look. And I'll take a little dip of orange. So we're shading and fading it to the side. Fade it a little over here. Okay, and I'm going to give it some bright colored outlines. I'm gonna go with green. And some blue. I don't know how I want to decorate that cake yet. But what I do know is that I think I'm going to make a mint looking cake with chocolate chips. So I'm going to go with white. And then I'm going with this green. And I'm going to fade it out with this color on the sides. Oh, awesome. And then I'm going to put some blackish brownish chips on it, like it's chocolate chipped. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I thought of a cool cake. Okay, so this has like chips all over it. And this one I'm gonna put a cherry on top. Chips and cherry. Okay, I'm telling you, just make it up as you go. Okay, this one has the cherry right there. And it will have a shine after it dries a little bit. This one is going to have sprinkles. And it's gonna have some white sprinkles first. Little dashes of different sizes. Okay, let's see. Now it's going to have some purple sprinkles. Let's wipe that out. Okay. Sometimes it happens, right? Okay, and now we need some turquoise ones. Turquoise sprinkles. So this is my sprinkle cake, or sprinkle on top. Okay, I'll take some green ones. Oh my gosh, see how my towel's so full of paint? I'll just flip it over. Okay, some green ones. And some extra white frosting. A little extra over here. Okay, there's that cake. I think I need to shade it a little more on the side. I'm gonna give it some more orange. Okay, I am down to a half a cake and then I'm done. Oh no, I got one last shadow. I got the shadows on the plate. So this, I'm really digging that dark chocolate one now that I look at it. And I'm going to add some darker lines to the sides of this cake. And some darker green lines to the side of this cake. I didn't outline this one. Make sure all your cakes have different outlines. Okay, next. What's this one gonna be? What kind of cake didn't I do? I didn't do any with drips on it. Okay, we're gonna do a drip cake. So this one's gonna start out chocolate on top. And it's gonna have drips. Like as if we drizzled chocolate down the side. On what kind of cake? What kind of cake? Oh, how about on a chocolate cake? Except we're gonna add some white to this. And some yellow. Okay, and this is gonna be our chocolate cake in between. Now, what's gonna make it look like it's got dripping thing is gonna be like little shines on the ends of the chocolate. Down here. And now I need some color. How about this pink, this green? And a little bit of metallic blue. Oh my gosh, we haven't even used metallic blue. Where else could I use metallic blue? Maybe over here. And maybe a little over here. Oh, I like that blue. Oh, I'm using it everywhere now. Oh, I know, I'm gonna use the metallic blue for my shadows here. Well, I should probably use that burgundy to match. Yeah, I better do that. So remember the color I made that was like a burgundy? It was green plus red, and I stirred it up and I got a burgundy color. Now that, see, there's a shadow below, but there's also a shadow from the cake on the plate. If the shadow's going up and right, the shadow from the cake has to go up and right. So I look for the bottom of my cake on the right corner and I add a shadow right there. So every right bottom area has a shadow right there. Okay, right here, right here, right here. So those are all my shadows on my plates. And if I want to add an edge to my plate, that's the finishing touch. That's quick and easy. I'm just gonna take some colors and go, oh, I think red would be cool on the edge of this plate, and maybe on the edge of this plate, and a little over here. But I'm gonna add some other colors. It doesn't have to have one color. You see, his plates, if you look really close, they have little colors on the edges. We're not doing it as skinny as him, but it still has a cool look. So now I'm taking some turquoise, going around the edges of my plates. And there, and now I'm going to take some yellow and do that. So all around my edges, I get these bright colors. Oh my goodness. And now I think I'm at a point where I'm ready to stop and I want to reveal how the painting turned out. Now, if you need more time to work on yours, I don't want to rush you. I want you to keep going. But I'm going to show you how mine's looking so far, because I know you can do the rest on your own. And mine is looking like this. Ta-da! Now, of course, I've got a little more experience. I've done this before. I made this example, right? Now, you take your time, you make the best looking and most imaginative cakes you can make. Maybe you even have one of those birthday cakes that has a number of what the age is on it. You come up with whatever you want. And you know what? I can't wait to see how yours look. If you can, could you please take a picture and post it on Instagram? Tag it with Art Classes for Kids so that I can see it. If you don't have Instagram, you can also take a photo and email it to me. My email address is kim@artclassesforkids.com. And until I see you next, keep on painting this project so I can see how cool yours comes out.